Hello, and welcome to On the Way. This is episode 20, and I'm excited to talk about today's episode because it's one of my favorite things to talk about, which is gratitude. I want to say that I'm extremely grateful for this last year. This is the last recording I'll make of this season because it was this time last year when I started recording. I didn't record every week. There were times when God had me take off, but it has been a year. And there's a lot for me to reflect on over this last year. And over these last couple of days, God has reminded me of everything that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the time I got to spend on the road when I was traveling. I'm grateful for the time I got to spend in Europe, because that's where He taught me how to listen to Him and trust Him. I'm grateful for my family and my friends and the love that I have for and from all of them. I'm grateful for my health, my new home, the city that I live in, the friends that I've made, the job that I have. He's given me so much, and so I'm grateful for all of it. As I reflect on the year, I had a lot of changes. And changes sometimes can be scary, even for me. I don't tend to worry. I'm not a worrier. But when it's unknown, sometimes you wonder. I can't say that I feel worry about it because I trust God. I trust that He is leading me and showing me exactly what I need to do and where I need to go and what I'm doing at this point in my life. But every once in a while, I'll just wonder. But I leave it in His hands. And so I'm grateful that I have that trust in Him, that I have that faith, that He's leading me and that I am exactly where He needs me to be. Whenever I talk to people about where I used to live in Colorado, the beautiful mountains, I lived there almost 35 years, about 35 years of my life. So a majority of my life was spent in Colorado, and Colorado is beautiful. But after living here, living near the water, I've realized I don't ever want to live away from the water again. Water's always brought me so much peace. And so I'm always so grateful when I get to be in or around water and just marvel at its beauty. I feel so close to God in nature. Regardless, in nature, I feel close to God. But something about the water and the reflection of things and light on the water just draws me so close to Him. And as I say that, it's funny because I remember in the hills of Germany when He was teaching me how to listen to Him so well, one of the first things He taught me to look at was the glistening dew on ferns in the forest where there was no sunlight. I saw the glisten of the dew on the ferns. And I thought there's got to be sunlight somewhere, because where is that? How am I seeing it? It's so glistening, like there was light bouncing off of the dew. And then He would say, I'm here. And I think that might be one of the reasons why I equate the glistening water with God. Sunsets are beautiful. But if you look at the water, the reflection of the water, it's magical for me. And maybe that goes back to that time in Germany. I don't know. I just know that I find great comfort in looking at things like that. A couple of days ago, I was at a restaurant. I was going to meet a friend there. And as I sat there, there were windows like beside me, and I looked down into the canal of the town that I live in. And in the river, the water was so still. And across the river there's a gazebo, and there was snow everywhere. It was just beautiful the way it looked, but it was the reflection on the water that really got to me. It was like a mirror. And I took a picture of it. I'm not known for snapping a lot of pictures, but when I do, it's usually of sunsets or something on the water. But it started me thinking about how grateful I was that I noticed things like that. And then I became so filled with gratitude. And as I became filled with gratitude, so many things just kept popping into my mind as to what I should be grateful for. And that's when I felt that's what God wanted me to talk about today. I know we all have our own ways of thanking Him for when we feel blessed. Sometimes it's hard to feel gratitude when something tough is hitting us or we're going through a rough patch. But in those times, I feel like if I reach for God and thank Him for other things, it does ease that pain a little bit for me. Because He's always there for me. He always makes me feel loved, which makes me feel even more grateful. I do feel like when we reach for gratitude and feel it more often, that it makes us happier. Because we don't dwell in the sad. We don't dwell in the negative. We feel that gratitude, which I think converts to joy. And when you feel all of that, how can you not exude that to others around you? And that's what I always pray that I do, that people feel the joy that I carry. If you remember, my last episode talked about gifting those things to others, even to strangers. And I feel like they can see and feel it if you're a grateful person. Because God does give us so much. Today I had an incident where my car is stuck in the snow. And I went to a friend's house this morning and got my car stuck in the snow. And I'm grateful that I can call a tow truck to come and pull me out of that mess. But as I was standing in the snow, I just thought how grateful I am that I live in a place that has snow. Don't get me wrong. As I get older, the cold is a little harder to take. I'm not out in it as much as I was before. I realize that it's a physiological thing, changes in my body as I age, but it doesn't mean I don't want to be out in it, because snow is just so lovely and peaceful and beautiful. And so I'm grateful for that. I wanted to share real quick a story of when I was first working at the store that I'm working at, and we had to move products. I'm not quite sure if I've talked on here about where I work, but I tried not to share it because it'd be too easy to figure out where I am, which is not a secret. I just don't know that it's safe to put it out on the interweb. But anyway, we had little boxes of products and big boxes, and we were moving some upstairs and some downstairs, and it was just me and another colleague, and it was a slow day, so we were moving a lot of product, and we just kept moving. I'd bring her an empty box, she'd fill it, I'd bring it down, empty it there, and we went, I don't know how many times. I must have gone up and down those stairs at least 100 times that day. And when we were done and sitting there and chatting about, what we had accomplished, I said, I was in gratitude the whole time. I said gratitude prayers as I would go up and down those stairs, because I could tell my 61-year-old body to do that work, to lift those boxes and put them back in shelves and to refill them and pull them back upstairs, and that I could do that over and over and over. I could tell my body to do that, and my body did it. And I didn't have any problems. And so I was so grateful that I could do that I had the stamina and the health to be able to do such a thing. And then I enjoyed it. I absolutely enjoy that kind of work. But when you feel that way, then a chore doesn't feel like a chore, I think. I'm not saying that all work like that can make you happy because you're in gratitude, but it certainly can't hurt. And so that's what I do. I try to do, I should say. I'm not always, I'm not, I make mistakes too. I don't remember to do that all the time in the middle of something difficult. But I do try to find the good so that I can be grateful for whatever I'm going through, whatever I'm doing, because there is so much to be grateful for. God led me to a beautiful little town where I've met some amazing people. And I've got some really great friends here that I feel like will be my friends forever. And I love my house where I live. And I've settled in very nicely here. And while I'd like to say this is home forever, I can't say that with all certainty. but I do know I'll never live away from the water again. It draws me to it, and that I'm grateful for as well. A long time ago, when I used to watch the Oprah Winfrey Show, I remember her talking about having a gratitude journal, and I think it might be helpful so that we can look for even the smallest things to be grateful for, because once we start doing that, we notice everything, and we can be grateful for so much more, and we can reach for that in times of difficulty. I think she suggested that every evening that you write down 5 things that are 10, I don't know how many things, that you're grateful for that day. Yes, my car got stuck in the snow, but I'm grateful that I can get someone to pull me out. I'm grateful that I got to stand out in that cold weather. I'm grateful for the time I got to spend with my friend this morning. And I'm grateful that I'm healthy and that I have a job that I need to get ready to go to. So I already have at least 5 things there. And the day just started. I'm getting ready to go to work this morning, and all of a sudden I hear, I need you to record about gratitude. So I think that the practice that Oprah had suggested is probably a really great start. I think in the very beginning, because this was really at the very, very beginning of my spiritual training. I was always spiritual as a child. We were raised, like I said, in a Christian home. So I considered myself, Christian and still do, but it wasn't as spiritual. First of all, I was a child. And as I raised my children, there were family issues, with extended family that I was involved in and certainly embraced because it helped make who I am. But it was then in my 30s that I started reaching for something more than just going to church, that I wanted something more spiritual. And it was about that time when I started watching Oprah. And I think I mentioned that before in another recording. But I believe I started a gratitude journal, but I wasn't real good at keeping up with it. I had children to raise, and I was going to nursing school, so I was busy. But when I did do it, it did bring me peace because there was so much to be grateful for. And then years later, when I found the journal, it was pretty sparse, but it made me realize that I was already doing that in my heart every morning. So then I started offering prayers of gratitude all day. Even if it's just seeing a sunset, or walking to work and a leaf that falls out of a tree in front of me and I feel like it's a hello from God. Little things like that really can make a difference in your day. Because if we feel gratitude, we can gift that joy and gratitude to strangers. It's much easier to give that gift. Anyway, I think God's message today to all of us is gratitude brings us closer to Him because He does have so much to give us and to bless us with. We just need to say hello and thank Him for it all. All right. Well, hopefully I'll talk to you again next week. I am heading to Colorado to meet a granddaughter that I haven't met yet. And who knows, maybe I'll record another one before I leave and it'll post next week. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is anymore. I just do as He tells me. So anyway, have a blessed day. And remember, God loves you, and so do I.